Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. The question of the day is, what's your favorite altcoin and why? Because I know some people have very interesting choices when it comes to the altcoins that they love. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. The news is going to be a little bit, I want to say, weird today, just because a lot of the news in the last couple of weeks has also been kind of weird. BlackRock and Van Eck have started advertising campaigns for their spot Bitcoin ETFs on Google. And its previously announced ad policy update finally took place. For those of you who were not here, a number of years ago, the cryptocurrency space is constantly tussled around, thrown around, has highs and lows, and I do not mean for prices. Back in good old 2017, the cryptocurrency space got a recognition, maybe a little bit too much recognition, because for some reason, by the end of 2017, very early 2018, everyone began to announce that cryptocurrencies were evil in some sort of way and that people needed to be protected from them. The protection that they received was in the form of Facebook, Google, Amazon, and some other provider announcing that they would no longer be showing cryptocurrency related ads on their platform. This was very big news back in the day and made a lot of people within crypto very upset, namely because they don't do this for other financial instruments. There are a multitude of ways that people can invest, lose their money, or not do very well in their investments. However, crypto got the short end of the stick, the side of the stick that was on fire or something like that. And now it seems that wink, these other companies are now okay with showing cryptocurrency ads because BlackRock and Van Eck have joined the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It says for the first time in 5 years, Google has opened its extensive advertising network to specific crypto-related offerings, notably the newly introduced spot Bitcoin ETFs. This marks a notable change from the company's stance in March 2018, when it, alongside Facebook, banned cryptocurrency-related advertisements, which was really annoying. And I remember that video as well because I said, well, if you ban crypto ads, please ban ads for all other investments as well. Because I'm almost certain that when it comes to other, like as far as investing in stocks, how many people have invested in stocks and lost all of their money or gotten into a very volatile vehicle? How many people I keep seeing news stories like this on YouTube. How many people have gotten a mortgage and then realized later that they didn't understand the actual fluctuating interest rates based off of what the Fed is saying, and now their mortgage is about 5 times higher than it previously was before? Why isn't that ever put into question? But anything to do with crypto automatically has to be seen as absolutely evil. Someone posted a screenshot. They typed in Bitcoin ETF. It shows Van Eck, Bitcoin in an ETF, invest in Bitcoin, and iShares by BlackRock, iBit ETF, iShares, and Bitcoin. Back in December, Google announced that it would allow advertising in the United States to promote cryptocurrency coins starting on the 29th of January. The tech giant emphasized compliance with local legislation, I'm sure, underscoring that all advertisements must adhere to the local requirements and legal requirements of their targeted locations. For example, in South Africa, advertisements for crypto assets are mandated to explicitly warn that these assets could lead to a loss of funds. One of the places, and I literally don't know how this even became a thing. For some reason in 2018, the UK really stood up and was beating its chest in public, talking about how much they hated crypto, how terrible crypto was. We need to save everyone from crypto. It was like so there was some company who made a cryptocurrency ad, and I think they put it in Piccadilly Circus. I think that's where it was. And they got fined because they had to take it down because it didn't explicitly say that people could lose their money. There were other people who had ads on buses and in the metro and stuff like that, and they also got in trouble as well. And the generalized idea, much like it just said for South Africa, was that they were not posting that it could lead to a loss of funds. But once again, I reiterate, how many times have people gotten mortgages and they were also not told that there could be a loss of funds, or even you might lose your home if your interest rate is 1%. You didn't read the contract correctly. It might go up to 7, 8, 9, 10% the next month, which is also part of the reason why the financial crisis happened in 2008, 2009 within the US and the rest of the world. For those of you who didn't know that little part, people were getting mortgages and didn't know that the interest rates were fluctuating. They weren't stable. Something a lot of people aren't told when first getting a home. They will quote you 2 to 3%, and you go, okay, cool. They'll show you an amount, you go, okay, cool. And then you don't realize that sometimes at the end of the year, the bank will give you a letter and it says, hey, this is your new interest rate now. Knowing good and well that you couldn't pay it from the start, so then the bank gets the house while you get nothing. It's the same exact thing when people are investing in gold and silver. You might not be told that there's going to be a loss, but you will probably not be told that it is not a very well-performing asset. It might hold value in that 2,000 from 10 years ago might be the same 2,000 15 years in the future comparative to other assets, but no one tells you that there's a loss of funds, light air quote there, comparative to the rate of inflation. So anyway, a lot of times, sorry if I sound annoyed, it's because I am. It's years and years of going through this news every day and seeing that there's like very little progression in the human race or what people do or how things are formed, and just the levels of, I don't want to say the word corruption, but you know what I mean, and you know what word maybe I'm trying to find that I can't find in my head. It's always like, Bitcoin is not the problem because BlackRock and Fidelity got into the space. Now it's okay to have cryptocurrency advertisements. Now it's okay for the rest of the world to know. It's always the same kind of loop that we go through in history. It's always this really weird, well, that's evil, that's terrible. And you can think of several things. I can't even say them on here because for those of you who don't know, the algorithm listens. That is a real thing. It listens to everything that I say. So there are certain things that years ago were also illegal. And now they're like, this is the greatest thing ever because people have figured out how to get taxes from them. This was relatively large news. Anything tied right now to spot ETFs, Bitcoin, Fidelity, BlackRock, maybe Van Eck, maybe Van Eck, ends up being really big news under the assumption that if people now can see ads online for these ETFs, it might spark a bit more interest than there's already been, which is also quite huge if you haven't been paying attention. I find the interesting part in the news for me the last 2 or 3 weeks has been like rather accumulation numbers. For those of you who missed it, the ETF issuers now hold the last number we got at the time of me making this video. They now hold over 105,000 Bitcoin. And the news ends up being like a triumphant, yeah, look how much that they have, as opposed to like, did no one calculate how much money that was entering into this brand new market over the course of a 15, 16, 17 day period? Like how much money is actually flowing into the market, but just through the way of the ETF, which isn't explicitly hitting cryptocurrency exchanges, but it's all still happening. So the accumulation is there. the interest is most certainly there, far more interest than we've seen in Bitcoin futures, a lot of them of which are now shutting down because they're absolute nonsense. They're not dealing in anything. It's literally people trading US dollars back and forth. Someone wrote the word Bitcoin on a piece of paper. They slapped it onto the wall and they went, yeah, this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin futures have nothing to do with Bitcoin. I saw a couple of other people, and I wasn't going to shame them. I'm not that kind of person. But I saw a couple people on Twitter posting really weird stuff, like talking about like expiry dates. Because usually if you have like a futures contract that'll start on a Monday, by Friday, the contract may end. And what ends up happening is years ago, we were told that when a contract expires, it could have a positive and or negative effect on Bitcoin's price, which was also a crazy amount of manipulation. And I saw people posting something like that again the last couple of days. And I'm like, you can't post stuff like that because it makes people believe that these things that aren't actually true. It has no effect on our market in any given way. And this is why that narrative has disappeared. You don't hear about it anymore. And this is why our market isn't affected by Bitcoin futures. So it's all these things that people keep throwing at us that tell us what's important, what's not important. So we'll hear that they have tons of Bitcoin, but not the actual effect that that's going to have on the market when the bull run extra begins, when we get past 40 something or other $1,000, and how much little Bitcoin there actually is out there for people to buy. It's always the same loop. It's always these like light diversions. We'll hear what's happening, but never what's like really happening. So cool. Apparently the richest companies on the planet are now, I wonder how that happened, are now allowed to advertise for their spot Bitcoin ETFs once again. Cool. Fantastic. Yeah. Let's move on. In, I want to say confusing news, I don't know where to really throw this. Ripple's chief technology officer, his name is David Schwartz, has clarified his stance on a new governance proposal for the XRP Ledger Foundation. In a series of posts, Schwartz stressed the importance of community input on the proposal, which he described as a straw man, designed to stimulate open dialogue and gather diverse suggestions. Do people speak into straw men? The Ripple CTO underlined that the proposal aims to enhance the transparency and democratic process of the XRP Ledger's governance, asserting that it does not require permission to be presented, as any member of the community has the right to contribute ideas. So what I think is happening here, and this is a very long article, and it kind of just goes around in a loop about itself. What I think has happened is that for many other projects, if you are holding a coin, you typically have a vote in the matter. That is to say, if something is going to, most blockchains, not all, if there's something happening to the network, some kind of a major update or upgrade, or someone has a proposal, they can put it forth and the community can then vote on it. This becomes a bit askewed, as one coin does not equal 500,000 coins, in that many other chains do like weighted votes. So in certain instances, you can see that there is, everyone gets a vote, but if you have more coins, then your vote is worth more than other people. Therefore, kind of like throwing it into a really weird loop where whales can basically choose to have the network as they kind of see fit. So apparently they're talking about being able to vote on things on the XRP ledger, and I think someone wasn't feeling it or something like that. And now there's a discussion as to how all these things are supposed to be done. In a public endorsement, someone named David Fuelings, it's fuel and then ling, same word, he made a proposal. Schwartz stressed the proposal's intent to make the XRP ledger's governance more transparent and inclusive. The suggested changes are poised to foster a more democratic framework, inviting the community to actively participate in the evolution of the foundation. In his recent post, Fueling addressed the XRP Ledger's XRP Ledger community's concerns Just say the XRP. Okay. There's so many letters and so many other things regarding the timing and motivation behind his proposal to revamp the governance structure of the XRP Ledger Foundation. Fueling explained that his proposal was driven by a long-observed sentiment within the community for a more impactful voice in the XRP Ledger's affairs. Basically, people want to be able to vote on things that are going to be happening to the network, but if you can tell me one, I don't remember one. There aren't many networks that have like a proper voting system or one that can't be corrupted in some sort of way. Because you could even make it so, well, 1 XRP is equal to 500,000 XRP. Every vote counts. And then you go, wait, that person across the street just made 47 addresses. They put 1 XRP inside of each of them. Now they get 47 votes. Yeah. So how do you make sure that everyone gets a say in everything? This was first noted a couple of years, many years ago now, with EOS, when we found out that the way to become a validator on the network was basically by having a lot of EOS and having a lot of, what do you call it? Like influence within the market and people who you knew. And now people were like, that's not fair at all, because the way that it was touted to the public was that everyone would get a vote. Not that there would only be 21 validators and they would only be chosen by basically how, the word's not loyal, how rich and loyal they were to certain other people. So cool. This article literally just keeps on going and talking about the same exact thing over and over. And it's like, well, fun, cool. I hope they get it under control. It's always the ripple effect, where anything Ripple or XRP ends up making it like heavily into the news in some sort of way. But I'm sure they'll figure this out. I've seen people like asking for more votes and stuff like that, but I mean, I don't know what people want. What I think ends up happening is, in my view, is that people ask for something for a while, they get it, they got it, and then they want something else new. And they keep asking, and then they get it, then they've got it, and then they want something new. And this is, I don't know. So listen, it's XRP, it's Ripple. If it makes it back into the news in 214 days that they figured out the proposal, it will be major news. That's just because that's how the news rolls. That's the XRP Ledger Foundation voting proposal news. And yeah, let's move on. Also so we're in like another like mimicky period. And I guess maybe this is the new thing for this bull run. Every cycle, there tends to be like a new thing that people latch onto and say is the new, amazing, awesome, incredible thing that everyone needs to get into. We have NFTs with Ethereum, and then that lightly morphed into like a more solidified kind of market. I've talked about them before in other videos. I'm not going to go into it here. And then that morphed into the beginning of, what was it, last year? Has it been a year already? I think it has. Where Bitcoin got NFTs, but they weren't called NFTs. They were called ordinals. And they weren't called minting. They were called inscribing. I think that's what it was. And now we've gotten to the point where nearly every other chain is trying to do the exact same thing, but they're doing it in such a convoluted way that it's going to kind of tumble into itself and it's not going to go anywhere, because usually we need like more cohesive things to kind of take place, as opposed to just everyone throwing out a name and trying to get their thing to stick onto a wall. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, because I saw it and I was like, okay, all right. So the crypto exchange OKX, previously OKEX, has announced that they're going to be adding support for, so you know how Bitcoin has ordinals? They're adding support for atomicals, stamps, runes, and Dogecoin now has dogonals. Not ordinals, but dogonals. Normally, certain coins, rather, the initial standard for Ethereum was ERC20 tokens. Atomicals will be ARC20. Stamps will be SRC20. And Dogecoin's Doganals will be DRC20. So that's what I'm talking about, the whole like mimicking thing. Everyone's just trying to do the exact same thing that someone else is already doing, but giving it a brand new name, thinking that it's going to do something for their coin. I don't know. To their platform. And they said they have plans to launch a marketplace for all of these things in the future as well. OKX says it will be integrating the Bitcoin token standard, SRC20. Wasn't it BRC20? Okay. SRC20 for viewing and transferring inscription standards. They did this on the 5th of February. Followed by the integration of ARC20, DRC20, and Rune standards in late February as well. OKX's wallet inscriptions tool currently supports inscription minting on Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Polygon, BNB, Avalanche C, Arbitrum 1, and it says a number of others. Thank the goodness that no one wrote all of those things out. Inscriptions took off last year after launching on the Bitcoin blockchain, according to data from Dune. There are over 58 million inscriptions on the Bitcoin blockchain, and there was $166 million spent on fees alone. It says, while inscriptions have often been equated to NFTs and exhibit many similar traits, they aren't exactly the same. Inscriptions are recorded directly on chain. You literally are like writing them in, like you see people on a tree. It says like J+L and has like a heart written over it. This is the way that it was described to me, and I was like, that's terrible. You're basically writing it directly into the chain so it's there forever. Whereas NFTs are simply a link between the blockchain and an item or a file that's stored on a server. So we'll see exactly where this ends up going. There's a lot of talk constantly about not only NFTs, but ordinals. And for those of you who missed it as well, Sotheby's, I think it was Sotheby's, like 2 weeks ago, just did, they had an auction that was exclusively for Bitcoin ordinals and like single Satoshis. One of the ordinals went for, I think, $250,000 when the estimate was 200. Well, no. I think it was 20,000 was the estimate for the selling. And it sold for $250,000. And some single Satoshis that have stuff written on them also sold for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 as well. So this might be the thing. That is to say, the NFT, the ICO, the STO, every single bull market has one. Some kind of a 3-letter something that ends up igniting the market and everyone goes completely crazy for. So, cool. That's the OKX. And I think one other exchange also announced they're going to be supporting ordinals as well news. Fantasticals. And yeah. Let's move on. This should have happened a very long while ago. Coinbase has officially announced that they will no longer be supporting BSV, Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's Vision. Per a recent post on Twitter, Coinbase has announced that they have deprecated support for BSV, and effective immediately, the coin will no longer be available on its trading platform. In effect, Coinbase customers can no longer have access to their BSV holdings. And they are also not allowed to withdraw or deposit more of their coin into their wallets. I know it sounds quite dramatic, but we had news about this in October, I believe it was, where basically every single crypto exchange does the same. If they are planning on delisting a coin, they tell the public, we are planning on doing so on said date. Please take your coins off of the platform. And this is where we are now. So now they finally no longer have support for it. BSV has been by far one of the worst things to ever happen to the cryptocurrency space. BSV and BCH. BHC? BABC. Bitcoin Cash, whatever that one is. Terrible, terrible things for the cryptocurrency market. Without going into a long story, there has only ever been one Bitcoin. Part of the problem is that a couple of years ago, almost a decade at this point, which is terrible to think about, people began to come forward around the world and announced that they were Satoshi Nakamoto, or that they knew Satoshi Nakamoto, or that he was texting them, he had tweeted them, they were exchanging emails. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Because there were multiple people, even after the people from Bitcoin Cash and BSV, there were like 3 more people afterwards, but their stories never really caught on. And basically, these people announced that because they knew Satoshi, they knew his real vision, they knew his life, they wanted to be his friends, they had spoken at some point, they had met in a cafe, yada, 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 that they were the ones to make a brand new coin because Bitcoin, the number one coin, wasn't what he wanted anymore. And instead of Satoshi telling us that directly, or going online or going on Reddit as he had done previously before, these people created their own coins. And part of the problem is if you have anyone who screams loud enough in a public square, you've seen people performing before, like, hey, everyone, come over here. And everyone like begins to walk over. If you have enough people who scream loud enough people will actually walk over to you and begin to listen. And these people created their own coins. One of them was a fork of Bitcoin and one was a fork of Bitcoin Cash. And the problem is that now we know that there's only one Bitcoin. However, back then, people assumed, 1, that these people might have been telling the truth, and 2, that Bitcoin itself had been fragmented in some sort of way. So if I tell you that there's only one cup, there's the only one cup on the planet, and then I do a little magic trick, and then I show you that there's 2 cups on the table, you're going to go, oh my gosh, like how did you do that? Same thing happened for Bitcoin Cash. It was created. They were told that this is the real Bitcoin. They were going to upgrade it and do all these things that Satoshi wanted, yada, yada, yada. Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, came out like a bat out of HE double hockey sticks. And basically everyone began to believe that, not everyone. A select group of people began to believe the lie that this was the real Bitcoin. And part of the issue is that in 2018, 2019, the market was incredibly fragile. And it caused Bitcoin's price to literally collapse in half. I think it went from $6,000 to $3,000 in I think a day or two, because people believed that Bitcoin once again had been fragmented, had been split down the middle to make another new chain. And this began the legacy of lying for a lot of other coins. We got Bitcoin Gold, we got Bitcoin Silver, we had Bitcoin Diamond, the whole spectrum, you can say, of different Bitcoin we actually had out there. And every time that a new one got made, the price went down. But the issue is that no one, not even an issue, no one was actually using these chains. When I tell you if a coin looks amazing, awesome, spectacular, fantastic, look up if anyone's using it. And I don't mean trading volume. A lot of people say, well, it has really high trading volume. No. You can be a scammer and also have really high trading volume for your coin. It just takes money from outside sources. You can have 3 people trading a coin back and forth on crypto exchanges and produce hundreds of millions of dollars worth of volume over the course of a 24-hour period. You and all your friends have $10 million. You trade that coin around a couple of times. That is $120 million trading volume over the course of 24 hours. But how many people are using it? How many people are sending money on that chain? How many people are moving value back and forth? Are people inscribing on it? Are they making NFTs on it? Are there companies talking about that they're going to use it? That's the problem with Bitcoin Cash and also with BSV. Bitcoin Cash is trying so hard the last couple of weeks. And I know that I've seen a lot of articles of people trying to hype it up. Bitcoin goes up by 6%. Bitcoin Cash goes up by 3%. And they're like, revival? Is the coin coming back? And it's like, no, you listened to scammers a number of years ago when you bought this coin. I was going to say when I told you not to, but once again, my channel's reach only goes so far. The nail in the blockchain, as it were, for BSV many years ago was that no one was using it. And it was so few people that people found out the only one app that was taking up, I think, 99% of their usage was a weather app. Right. So, super long story short, because believe me, I have a lot more I can say. This and a bunch of other coins need to be delisted because they're not being used. They're absolute scams and should have never been created in the first place. It's sad that it took 7 years to show the resilience of the #1 coin comparative to them, and how many other people lost their money from throwing it into these actual pieces of garbage. But alas, here we are. So I always say, no one knows what altcoin is going to be cool, funky, fly, or fresh in the future. How popular it might be. But in the initial phases, look to see if anyone's actually using it. That's the problem with a lot of these coins right now, is that no one's actually using them, but the advertisement is spot on. There are people who will tell you, and other YouTubers who are being paid by them, who will tell you how amazing these coins are, and no one's using them. Nobody wants to use them. No companies are ever going to use them. Anyway, yeah. Long saga finally comes to an end. There are many other coins. We should have no more than 30, maybe 35 coins in the market. 10,000 is absolute nonsense. And hopefully it changes over the course of the next couple of years, unless Bitcoin just absorbs the entirety of the market, as all the Bitcoin maximalists are kind of expecting. Yeah, that is definitely going to do it for this video. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.